Hi, everybody. Super awesome to be here. So I think this is actually Rob's first Fantastic Arcade.
It is.
But I've been to a few. So we're really excited to share Joggernauts with you. I think we've got names. One of us, on the next slide here, Rob, one of us didn't make it. So Tommy Sunders is a third of our company. Our company's called Space Mace. The game is called Joggernauts. And he's home right now with his daughter, Zaylee. Yeah, really cute. Tommy says to not have your first kid while also shipping your first Nintendo Switch game.
Don't do it.
He strongly recommends. I think he had his daughter in July.
Yeah.
And we shipped we shipped our stuff in August.
Well, we had to send it to Nintendo and stuff, but
yeah. So he was that was a special kind of thing for him. So my name is Zach Johnson. No relation to other Zach Johnsons, and so I did code and level design, and I'm kind of like our de facto producer. Rob, what did you do on?
well, my name is Robert Frost III.
Are you related?
No relations
Okay.
to any poets out there. And I did music, sound, and VO and all musical things in Joggernauts.
Yeah, Rob did an awesome job. You have so many reviews where they're like, we're getting a high number just because his 10 out of 10 on the music is carrying us. It's great. So Tommy, who's not here with us, he's our artist. He did all the character design in the game. He did animation, graphic design. He's kind of on the visual side. And the way it just kind of worked out is I had a rough demo, and then Tommy joined, and then Rob joined, and we'll tell a little bit more about that story. I think what we're gonna do is start playing the game, the two of us, while we kind of tell you what it is and why we did it. And Rob and I will start playing, but I think in a little bit we'd want a couple of volunteers who aren't as familiar with the game, or people who are familiar with it but are bad at it could also just come from the front row. But I think we're going to want some other people to play in a little bit. But Rob, why don't you launch the game?
Yeah, I can do that.
Sweet.
So we also had some freelancers on the project too.
We had three. We grew to 6 people, and we had somebody helping kind of on the code side named Martin Greider. We had somebody in kind of the art production pipeline named Krista McCullough. And the last person to join us was Jason Fitzer. He did a bunch of additional UI, UX, and animation stuff. And the whole team is basically Minneapolis, Minnesota based. Tommy lives in a first-tier suburb of Minneapolis.
We're all in Minnesota.
We're all in Minnesota, yeah. Okay.
Let's do
Let's
new.
go from the beginning. So Joggernauts is, the story of Joggernauts here is this is Coach, which stands for the Cybernetic Outer Space Athletic Coaching Humanoid. And you're a team of alien athletes, and somebody done screwed up and blowed up his ship and lost all of his trophies. And so now you and your jogging pals have to get Coach's trophies back. So it's just, it's nice to have story in games that really aren't about story.
We
Coach.
originally didn't have any.
I added so much. Coach is one of my favorite late additions to the game for sure. Is Coach is rad. All right, so it's a little weird how Joggernauts play. So I want to get into what this game is before why we did it. Oh, fun factoid: those 2 cats at the bottom are both Tommy's actual cats, Midnight and Star. Those cats in the game.
Yeah.
Do they actually have terrifying pink eyes? Oh, I see. That's a variable eye color. Okay.
Well, Star definitely has terrifying eyes.
Should I be the cat too?
Yeah, why not?
All right, sure.
And both these cat VOs are what, Rachel?
Yeah, my girlfriend did a lot of the VO in
And
in our
both these
house.
cats, right?
Yeah, she did most of them.
I noticed in the sort of animalese honking and squonking from the coach. I don't know if the audience could hear that. It was pretty
Yeah, I
nice.
can.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sort of.
Find the right
Yeah.
balance. Okay, so Coach is going to teach us how to play here. The first important point he's going to make is that this is a cooperative game. So in Joggernauts, you're all on the same team, and actually the entire team has to survive a level together, or you'll all fail together. There's no individual victory. And it's an auto runner. We're not controlling the speed, so it's Cannonball, Super Mario Run. It was actually inspired by Bittrip Runner. So we're all going to run along at a constant speed, and what we have to do is we have to take turns switching. We each separately have a switching mechanic where we can send our color character to the front of the lineup. So I'm green, and I just
orbs pay for checkpoints.
One of the weirdest things about Joggernauts it kind of uses like almost a verbal.
It's kind of like Super Mario Brothers 3.
Are you kidding me?
Shout out
Totally
there
a
in the
Mario
background.
3 homage there.
Do you want me to go on a single player?
I'm gonna drop out.
Okay, change team.
Super exact.
Yeah. Drop on. I don't play.
So I mean, the key point is, I mean, we think of it as like we call it a cooperative switching game, and it's an auto runner, but the technical mechanic is a little bit bizarre. And it's kind of like, I mean, like we pitch it sometimes as like Bishop Runner crossed with Overcooked, and there's this kind of chaotic shouting that you do over shared but divided responsibility in the team. And the way that the switching mechanic actually works is it's kind of like Portal. You're instantaneously teleporting between two positions, and so there's interplay between the momentum of the two players. You can like chain jumps or accidentally like take someone's jump away because there's that. You're kind of like opening a portal in two places and going through it instantaneously. And every level, if you get both trophies, has a bonus at the end of it. It kind of plays like Guitar Hero or Dance Dance Revolution, really. I mean, it looks like a platformer, but it plays more like a rhythm or memorization game. But part of the difficulty is that like it's DDR, but it doesn't have the like stream of arrows coming down the screen to tell you what to do at the right moment, and you have other people who, or your own two hands, you have to sort out like what you should be doing at any given time. So I think that I can ask Rob some questions too. I want to get some stranger stuff on the.
Yeah, I'm just wrecking the shop here.
Are you good? Are you good, Rob?
I'm okay.
You're making it look easy.
Yeah.
You guys, does anyone want to try some Joggernauts?
We have the volunteers that are
We
feeling
got one here, and we got one up there. We can do a 3-player if you want to come down to. Yeah.
It's going to be extremely hard for me to talk about, that's for sure.
Yeah. It is a game of focus. That's why we're straight off. We call these wagglers. We stole these straight out of Super Mario World.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. And then we stole the ending from Super Mario 3. Just steal everything from Nintendo.
Yeah,
is really the lesson of this entire talk. We had 3 people back there who said they were willing to come down.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, if we
down.
got do we want how many people do we want? Two down? One down?
Actually,
3?
2 bodies is better because otherwise we're out of chairs. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So just 2 of you who volunteered.
Sounds
Whatever.
good.
Any 2. Don't be shy.
I
Come on
remember this
down.
gentleman raised his
Please.
hand first. I saw.
You want to come
Jason,
down?
you can come down.
And then you?
Yeah,
sir?
come on. Come on down.
What are your names?
Yo. Jog on down.
Jog on down. What's your name?
Brendan.
Hi, Zach.
Yeah.
Come on down. Grab a seat in the controller. Very good.
You might want to start in the tutorial.
We got
Yeah.
Jason.
Hi. Thanks for coming down.
Welcome to the
Yeah,
hot
and
seat.
There's no shame in doing the tutorial again if
Yeah,
you didn't catch
definitely not.
what the buttons were, because yeah.
Go down. Oh yeah, you're in a. If you press B, yeah, there you go. You go down and over.
There's
Yeah, there you go.
There's the tutorial.
Okay, so you said you wanted to ask.
Do they both have the? Do they have
Oh,
the
no,
right
they
2
don't.
controllers?
No. Well, it's also in single player.
Oh,
You keep talking.
okay,
I'll
cool.
help these guys.
All right,
Can
so
we go back to characters?
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll sort out getting them started. So, this game first started as I was playing the original Bit Trip Runner, which is a really difficult game. Bit Trip Runner 1 had 1-hit team kills and no checkpoints. So like any mistake, you had to start the level from scratch. And I was playing that with my friend Jesse, and it kind of like turned into,
There you go.
it's a single player game that we kind of turned into multiplayer. Well, as we're both playing Bit Trip Runner single player, like we were invested in each other's like moves. Like we were both saying like jump, slide, kick, jump, kind of together as we're playing Bit Trip Runner. And the question was raised, like how would we do this at the same time? Like how would you literally do Bit Trip Runner multiplayer? And there aren't a lot of multiplayer games in the auto runner space, and there isn't really games that are playing with the switching mechanic a lot. And so, you know, it's kind of like, okay, well, if Bit Trip Runner was multiplayer, you'd have one person in front getting to kick all the crystals and do all the work, and then you just have this follower behind you, and they'd be bored. And it was that dynamic that was the invention of the switching places thing, taking turns being the leader of the group, taking turns having things to do, is where this mechanic came from. And so I made this really rough demo of the game. We can actually show you a video of it later. And it was just like Bit Trip Runner. It was one hit kill. It was no checkpoints. It was up to 4 players. If anybody made a mistake, everybody had to start over. And we have this kind of playtesting community in Minneapolis where we play each other's games. And I showed it there, and it got like this response I'd never really seen before, where like people would play it, and then like a month later, they'd come up to me and start picking my brain about this demo they played once. It like stuck with them the whole month, and I took that as a really good sign. And then Tommy was like, "Hey, do you need an artist for this project?" And I was like, "I don't know, maybe I need an artist for the project." And Tommy came on board, but he came on board conditionally. Tommy was like, I will do art for this project on the condition that you don't make it one hit kill and that you add checkpoints to the game. And I think that was very wise.
It was very smart.
Yeah, and then Rob had done music at Global Game Jam for one of Tommy's games. And shortly after Tommy and I started working together, we're like, this game has no audio at all, and we needed somebody desperately to do audio and music. And we're like, well, you worked with Rob before, and his music was amazing for the Game Jam game, and so we brought him on board. And one of the things that's kind of cool and unique about Space Maze is that we're 3 equal partners, and one of the 3 partners is a composer and audio person. So like we've had audio in as an equal partner, an equal, kind of designer in the whole process, which I think is maybe not super common.
It definitely was interesting because I've freelanced on a couple games before, working on Joggernauts, and I felt really empowered by the fact that like I got to be able to be a part of the whole process of making the game, which was really cool. And it also like made the audio a lot more alive, and had more focus on it. We were able to put a lot of effort into it because I was working on the music the same time everybody else was, which had its difficulties. Like I'm writing music before stuff's made, just with the idea of like some aesthetics, like Tommy's like, okay, it's gonna be, like this level where it was like, it's gonna be at night and there's gonna be some temple heads, and it was like, okay, I'll try something.
It was fun to watch that feedback loop of like Rob starting on a song blind, and then Tommy being like, I think visually I'm gonna take it this direction, and Rob is such a fast worker. He would like recompose a song in an afternoon and be like, well, what do you think about this? And we were like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to do that, and all the music in the game it's very thematic. Like each world has its own theme. I just really wanted, since we didn't have a lot of story, I wanted to create like a sense of like familiarity, so you can go through the game and you like can pick up on different themes, so it kind of feels like it like works together, and like the whole game is about working together, so I wanted the score to do that same thing.
Yeah, so on that idea of like a game about working together, part of what drew Tommy to this game is that he's like a gamer who likes to play with his friends. Like he'll have friends over who are casual gamers or don't play a lot of games, and he's always struggling to find like what the right game is to play with them. Like they'll play Mario Party or something like that. It's pretty accessible, but like his thing was like he loves like Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, things like that, and deathmatch fighting games, racing games. They're really difficult to play with just random friends who come over to your house and have everybody have a good time, because when it's a competitive game, you know, like in Smash Brothers, Tommy would just win every single time, and then he's not having fun and his friends aren't having fun. And even in something like Mario Kart, they create a really great experience for the people at the bottom. Like, if you're not a good Mario Kart player, there's always this like chance of like, oh wow, like I just went from last to second, and you'll have fun. But Tommy's still getting first every time and is bored. And Joggernauts, by taking away individual victory and by creating only a team victory, it like that's one way in which it kind of creates a game that you can have somebody just jump in on who's not, you know, not a gamer or something like that. And so we really leaned into that. Like, we went with the colorful, cartoony graphics as another way to not intimidate people who aren't big gamers. And the fact that it's a 2D platformer, literally everybody has played a 2D platformer. And then we simplified it even more. It's a 2-button game. It's an auto runner. It's just 2 buttons. So it's extremely like approachable and accessible for, you know, I've played with like 3 generations of my family, you know, like my nieces and nephews and my siblings and my parents. Like, that's a, you know, 50-year age gap, and everybody could just pick it up and play right away. And that's kind of a pretty cool and powerful thing, I think.
I love how you're talking about how accessible it is for everyone while they're like stuck on this.
I'll get to that. I will get to that. I also think what's kind of a really fun balancing thing to have, where you can have fun with complete strangers, is that in a way, nobody can be good at Joggernauts because it's a completely foreign mechanic. You have no context for this switching thing. Like, you have just no context for it. You've played Mario or Sonic or something, but as soon as all of a sudden another person's brain can move you on the screen, like, everybody is lost at first. And so you have this opportunity to all be bad at the game together, and you don't have one person who's taking over, and you don't have one person that's bored. And I don't know, I think that's pretty great.
So are there like any player-developed strategies for the switching mechanic? Because if I'm reading it correctly, you could both think, oh, it's time to switch, and then both switch and put yourself back in the pickle.
You can't do that, because so that was a key design limitation, is to make it so only the people who are behind the leader have that control. If you're in the lead, nothing's actually going to happen if you press the button.
That's right. You showed us. You get a little.
Yeah, and mind you, people still, even I will forget at times, like to manage that, and like it's not my turn, but because mechanically it works that way, like you don't have to. There is a clear answer. You don't have to like work out in meat space, like, okay, but who's going to be the switching captain? It's like that role actually trades off every time you switch. So what you're picking up on of where this is like the 3rd level or 4th level in the game, and they're really struggling. Turns out this game is really hard. Turns out Joggernauts is hard. Some of like I'm gonna read off a couple of our favorite quotes from critics. So somebody played and said, "This game sucked out my soul, chewed it up, spit it right back into my tired, broken body, and did it with a smile on its face. This game is evil." And somebody said, the cheering, smiling characters belie an insidious dark difficulty that lies waiting beneath the surface. So these are the kinds of things people are writing about Joggernauts. And there is this tension between how cute and cartoony it is and the fact that it's a 2-button 2D platformer that really can draw people in. And I don't know, it's like, I didn't necessarily mean for it to be so hard, but at the same time, it's a love letter to Bit Trip Runner, which is extremely, extremely difficult. Like, I love Bit Trip Runner, truly love it, but I'm no good at it. You know, like when I finally beat the first world of Bit Trip Runner, I quit that game. I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't care that there's 3 more worlds, I'm so done. But I love it, so I don't necessarily think that being good at a game is a requirement for loving it, you know? And I just think like maybe Joggernauts is a game that nobody is supposed to be good at, and some people like can't handle that. There's like some people who need to be good at a game that they play. And mind you definitely can improve in skill.
I mean, we got good at it.
We're really good at it, but do you have to? Does the game have to allow you to get better? I don't know. I think it's kind of an interesting question, especially a game that really its soul is couch co-op. You know, you're meant to sit down, and I think it's trauma bonding. Like, you know how you go to college with people and all of a sudden you like make all these fast friends because you're all in this like horrible situation together. Like, you're all suffering, but also like accomplishing something. You're all there for a reason, and I think Joggernauts does that. Like you're all at a party, you're all committed to trying something, having some fun, and all of a sudden you're all suffering together, and it brings you closer. It does. Like you
can make jokes about it later and be like, oh my god, that game.
There's this aspect of frustration and ridicule, but you're always gonna screw up yourself too. So like you can't really get too mad at like one person because like you're just as bad as they are.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, we also, so the game's hard, but you know, we wanted to make sure that players didn't feel just, you know, like the floor was being pulled out from under them. So we added modifiers, which drastically changes difficulty. You know.
Yeah. So there's you can go up to half speed and up to double speed. You can give your team a bunch more hearts.
Yeah.
Would you like a little bit of modification to your game so you can actually beat this level?
What you guys? If you go press start, you can go to exit to map, and then on the bottom there you'll see modifiers. Yeah. And then you can go hearts, checkpoints. That's cost. And so if you want half price, and then speed, you know, slower, faster. Oh my god.
Yeah, do it. I think they were just going too slow before, and it was confusing for them.
Yeah.
My jumps will go higher now, right?
Yeah, right.
No, they're just faster. So Rob and I, wow, you guys are doing great.
Wow.
So when you're playing, there's like there's presets for difficulty, and like our easier mode is like easier because like we don't really know if it makes anything easier.
Yeah, there you go.
The hard mode is called Zach mode, and the reason why it's called Zach mode and the reason why you can like play the game at 2x speed is that was nothing that we intended to do. Did they go to
real slow
underwater?
And you still did. Oh
yeah. I had to like grind through the same levels over and over and over again. So I just made a modifier for me so I could play the levels twice as fast, so I could get through them faster. And these guys saw me beating levels at 3x speed, and they're like, "You have to put that in the game. Like that's stupid." And I didn't have the heart to leave 3x in, so I put it down to 2x.
It was
and shipped
insane.
it at 2. I was just like, nobody on the planet is ever gonna like get good at 3x.
It was insane.
Yeah. I think that for me, it's a game that even as now a very skilled Joggernauts player, like Rob and I can beat these levels probably almost first try, even at 2x speed. And I really like playing with new people. Every time I play a level,
way more. Yeah. It creates a whole new experience of the game.
It's like a whole new dynamic, and you can actually, as a strong player of Joggernauts, you can help keep the team alive. You can kind of anticipate the mistakes and like early jumps, late jumps, wrong switches that someone's going to make, and you can actually set yourself up to not kill them or you when they're doing their mistake. And it's like this new kind of like challenge in every round of Joggernauts to kind of be like, okay, how does this person play? You know, what can I do to kind of for the team to like sort this out? Rob, what was your experience like the first time we like sat you down and said, we want you to work on this game, play Joggernauts with us? Well, what was that like?
Well, the first time I was like, you know, there's not too many games in the Minneapolis dev scene, and you know, I was super excited and fresh at making games and really wanted to work on something that looked aesthetically fun, pleasing, and I just could tell that Tommy and Zach were talented, thoughtful, you know, creators of things. So I was like, yeah, I want to try this. And I didn't understand Joggernauts until 2 years after working on it. Like, I did not understand it. And it was like when I was basically forced to play it so much is when I actually got it, and I was like, oh my god, this game is really fun. But I also don't have a background, and this was kind of blasphemy for for Zach and Tommy. I do not have a background in playing platformers. Like I never really played.
RPG guy, right?
Yeah, I pretty much was pretty much RPG, and I didn't really play you know, Mario or anything like that. And this whole game was like about that, and so it was. So my experience of it was like, it was a very different thing, and you know, like, I'm glad when we got a publisher, you know, I was kind of forced to play it a lot because there would be trigger points later in the level, and I'd have to play through it to like hear if the sound worked, and how loud it was and stuff. So I ended up getting really good at it based on having to play it a zillion times.
I think Rob got better than Tommy.
I did get
Tommy
better at
was
it.
Really good. For a while. I mean, he's a platformer guy.
Do you guys want me to just play its level?
You should jump in 3-player with them.
Okay. Yeah.
I bet.
Here,
So,
I'll
like,
just take this one.
I think when you add a third player, you think maybe it's going to get harder, but I think
Nope.
what you're going to see is
Yeah, team
that
setup.
adding a really skilled player is going to create an opportunity for the team as a whole to get through some of these tricky situations, because basically there's like a balancing thing
there's one
between,
more.
as you add or remove players, there's this balancing thing where there's two conditions where you die. One is you've lost all your health, the other is you're both dead at the same time. And so in 2-player, there's
green.
an immediate risk of failure, but lots of health. And multiplayer, like your health is spread thin, but as long as kind of one person didn't mess up, it can kind of carry you past the puzzle. And so it's kind of like, I think 3-player is kind of the like ultimate middle ground.
Nice.
And the other thing that's happening right now is Rob is doing some coaching. Like, do you two know each other? Our volunteers? Okay, so they're complete strangers to each other. When you're playing with friends or somebody who's like Rob here who's played Joggernauts a fair amount, people start to get into like kind of a captain's role or a coaching role. And so
down,
Rob
go
right
down.
now is
Yeah,
giving them
blue,
some
blue.
tips. He's like
Red.
cueing like when to switch or the direction to go through the level. And like that really kind of comes out
Red.
organically. Like every group of
Nice.
friends will
Okay, great.
kind of sort out how they want to do that differently. Some teams,
Alright,
like everybody
so blues
screams
come
their
up.
color when it's their
So-
time to go.
Nice.
But we're already seeing a lot of progress having added a third.
All right, blue.
I disconnected.
No, you didn't. You're doing great. Except done.
Yeah, but you got the checkpoint.
Yeah, we're doing good. Okay, so blue's in front. So,
So
you flip.
this level is inside of a giant monster whose name is what?
Okay, so blue first.
Smelly Belly PhD or
Yeah.
something like that?
Franklin P. Smelly
Franklin
Belly.
P. Smelly Belly.
Esquire.
Esquire, there you go. All right. So
All right, so blue first.
when Tommy joined the project, the game didn't have aesthetics yet. He did want to change the difficulty, but Tommy actually was interested
Blue,
in,
blue.
like his first pitch for the aesthetics of this game was
Killed me.
demons running through hell. And I think maybe he realized something in choosing that aesthetic. Like I think he saw the difficulty and how like
I'm
a
sorry, I
scary
killed you.
difficult aesthetic would
Sorry.
match the difficulty of the game.
Alright, so
In retrospect,
blue,
from a marketing
blue,
perspective,
blue,
that may have
blue.
been the right way to go. But we kept coming back. Both of us kept coming back
We did
to
it. We did it.
wanting it to. Nice work.
You guys, you did great. You did great.
I didn't hear any of that talk.
Doris L. Fenn.
Yeah, so we got Doris L. Finn.
Pretty good.
Anybody get it?
Why don't you take on the waterfall level? Yeah.
Okay.
You guys got this.
Does anybody else want to play?
He's like, I'm out.
I'm
I'm so
fucking
stressed
up.
I'm
out.
enjoying it. I just don't want to hog the controller.
Yeah, you're good.
Get
You're
good.
good. It's progress already.
All right, it's gonna be a longer talk.
So I don't know. I mean, the Demons Through Hell thing, like, it would have matched the difficulty of the game, but we really did want to not scare away. Like, Tommy didn't want to scare away friends who are coming over who, like, are used to, Mario Party or Mario Kart. Like, if we went with an aggressive, like, demonic, hardcore game aesthetic, like, no one's gonna play that if they're casual. And
But on
so
the
we-
opposite, it's like sometimes. Sorry. Oh God. On the opposite, sometimes it feels like like parents are like, this game's so cute, and then like, this game's so hard, I can't play it with my kids.
I've like just fully embraced that now, and it's like Joggernauts is the wolf in sheep's clothing. It is like a gateway drug to hardcore gaming. It's like you'll get people to play a game they would never play if they knew what they were in for. And a decent number of people seem to like it and be able to tolerate the level of frustration.
Oh God.
So this is completely anecdotally and like my own personal experience, but we've shown this game, all over the country. I even took it to Berlin. Showed it for 4 years. We've shown this game to hundreds and hundreds of people. And anecdotally, there's this thing I noticed where there's a lot of men who are skeptical
Oh,
of the
shit.
game, looking
Yeah,
at
I know
it. Their guess is like, this is too easy of a game for
Alright,
me.
we gotta get
I
one more
don't want to play it. And then they play, and they get super frustrated because the game is beating them, and they don't like that. And then again, this is generally from my anecdotal experience, the women who play the game are interested to give it a try up front more than men are, and have complete tolerance for the frustration. Like, I don't get the feedback from a lot of women of this game is frustrating, this game is hard, but especially if they're showing up in couples, like, I hear, the woman walk away and say to her male partner, like, this is great, let's get this, and he's like, that was so hard. And I don't really know what's up with that, really. But it's like an interesting phenomena to observe. I don't know. I think that's kind
Should
of
turn this game into a psych experiment with
Yes.
data.
Yeah, well, one of our reviewers said, like, I'm going on the record right now to say that people are going to get divorced because of this game. Like, just straight up said that in the review. But
Did he name them?
but I guess
names.
I don't know. I don't.
All right, so we got the
There's
trophy.
something there with the tolerance for frustration that seems to play.
Someone
out
jump.
with people.
I think I got divorced once over Pikmin 2.
Seriously?
All right, let's see if we can do this.
You got this.
Oh god.
Yeah, by the way,
oh,
great game.
god. Okay. There's
Yeah,
a
there's
wall.
there. Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, is this a
one,
cave?
This is real hard.
Oh,
Real hard.
Yeah. We were gonna do another boss level beyond this in World 1.
Don't worry, I
and
got
thank
you.
God we did not.
Oh my
because
god, I'm so
this
glad we
level's
didn't. It's
really
brutal.
hard already.
Red.
Yeah, and then there's like these shitty little like long jump, short jump, and then you have to alternate between, and it's like right here, like you have to do this little hop through here, or you smack your face. It's like that.
It's brutal. You gotta do this.
But we like the people who like smack talk the game at a festival, like they're watching over someone's shoulder,
blue. Nice.
and they're like, I don't know, I don't really want to play this. Looks easy, and then we're like, oh, just give it a shot. And then they're like just choking on level 1, and I just always kind of lean over the shoulder and go, it's just 2 buttons. You've played Mario before, right? And like they have to take it all back.
Oh,
Right?
shit.
I don't know. I enjoy
That's
that.
okay. That's okay. This is one of my favorite songs on the.
Yeah, I love the song.
It had this like weird bass groove thing, and it was really fun.
So like, you know how like
Oh,
what's
God.
the
What do you-
like Twain quote or somebody who was like, I'm sorry I wrote you such a long letter. I didn't have much time, and I feel like to make a game that has so few mechanics, like there's
when you
been
switch
so
them,
much
you gotta
evolution
jump.
from start to finish of just these tiny little
So watch
tweaks,
out,
like
Blue.
tweaking the amount of momentum that transfers when you switch places, like change. Like we had to do a lot of weeding out of competitive elements. We used to have this side metagame of who could get the most coins while doing this, and anybody who has like any competitive
All right,
bone in
Blue.
the body
Nice.
is then throwing their teammates like into pits just to get one
on,
coin,
Red.
and that was
Alright,
just
little
brutal.
jumps, little jumps.
We actually played at like the Devolver Lounge at
Little
GDC
jumps.
maybe 2-3 years ago, and Evan Greenwood from Free Lives played with us, and he like
Damn it, you
gave us
guys.
so much really valuable feedback about the tension between the competitive and cooperative elements in our game. It was just like, I noticed that you have these competing systems. It's like, is your game competitive or is it cooperative? And we really took that to heart and just started to like weed out every last thing that was competitive in the game. And like now, there's still coins, but we split them up so each person has a separate amount to
Sorry,
get,
that was my
and it's a
fault.
shared pot, so you never see like I got more than you did.
Okay, real careful here.
It gives a really strong
Blue.
player an opportunity to be the hero because the checkpoints cost orbs. If you're a really strong player, you can do all your jumps and everything and pay
nice,
attention
nice,
and
nice.
get your pickups and be able to pay for a checkpoint. Whereas a brand new player is just trying not to die. So it gives like another thing to do if you're a good player. You guys are actually doing pretty
Really,
well.
we're doing pretty good.
The other thing is this is the genre of
Oh,
die and
I'm
do
so
it over
sorry,
again.
I'm so sorry.
You know, the endless runner genre is you screw up and you have to start over. And
Okay, just little jumps.
and I feel like they're almost to the end in a few minutes is
Don't
really
do
not
it.
that bad.
Don't screw up. That was me. I screwed up.
See?
I know.
Well, that's the Joggernauts curse.
All right,
is we got it
let's
this
just-
time.
let's
That's
just restart.
That's definitely a curse. Like this is the one, and then just dead right off the bat.
All right, so blue. Okay, so there's a really interesting thing that happens, and this was really hard for me for a really long time playing this game, and I think a lot of people don't get it, but like you are switching places with whoever switches with you, you know, like so whoever's in back or whoever's in the middle, you know, you are changing the place in time where they were. So sometimes you need to jump twice because someone switched you.
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
just jumped, and now you're back where you were, and you have to jump again. And so you have to build this empathy. Like, you get killed by someone else enough times to realize that they're doing it to you by timing their switch wrong. And then you do this empathy thing where you're like, I'm going to now be careful about when I switch because I'm going to look where I am. I'm going to look where they are. If I switch now, where am I putting them on this level? And is it going to immediately kill
I'm not
them?
experiencing that. That's not happening.
You're not feeling the empathy?
oh my god, all right. Please.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious that you go to the front, but it's not immediately obvious to care about where you're moving the person who was in the front.
Exactly.
You're moving them to where you were.
Exactly. And that part of the game is very challenging to learn after a while. That was so nerfed. I love that. We nerfed that good. How are we doing on time?
I think we have, like, are we at 1? Do you want us to?
Yeah, we're gonna switch over at 1.
Yeah, so we got a good, like, 10 minutes.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to believe in you that you're going to beat
Yeah,
this
we're gonna do
level.
it. Except I just died. I'm so sorry. Empathy. Okay,
Jump,
be careful.
Jump,
Be
jump,
careful.
Green, 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 green.
All right, Blue. This is all you. It's all you.
God!
You said it was blue. I thought I could move on.
Red jumped too high.
What happened, you guys? What happened there? Well, yeah, there's this other thing that happens that, like, you know, your soul's being crushed, so you're starting to lose faith in yourself, and you're...
Deep breathing exercises. Joggernauts is a meditative game.
Yeah, it's so meditative.
I worry about myself a little bit after seeing, like, well, this thing that I made so hard and how much joy I take in watching people suck at it. Like, I worry a little bit about myself.
Oh my god, that was great. Okay, nobody died. But we got
Red.
plenty of hearts. Red, what
Red.
was that? What was that?
Green, 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 green,
I
green,
can't
green.
do it.
Okay, there you are. You got it.
Okay.
Blue.
Okay. Blue.
Blue. Yeah, there you
We
go.
did it.
No. No.
No
don't
hearts.
that.
No hearts.
Now, what was all that stuff you were saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
You guys were great.
Everybody, another brief round of applause for our contestants here.
We got the Glorpin de Florper.
Yeah, real quick, Rob. Why don't you just show them like the first level in World 2?
Yeah.
I just want to at least address the fact that it's not a one-trick pony.
Yeah. 'cause-
So the game has 3 worlds that use
shit, I got it.
they use the switching mechanic in different ways. You know, sometimes you need to switch, sometimes you need to not switch, and sometimes there's living platforms you activate, and sometimes there's walls or levers or floors or trapdoors you have to activate. So this second moon,
I gotta go faster. I'm sorry.
the second moon is kind of a forest moon, and the way the mechanic works here is like you have to make solid or not make solid something for the whole team. So like red touches the red thing, and it's now a solid wall. So it's not just all spiky jelly worms. Which, by the way, it's canon that the reason why you're running into those worms and splattering them is that's how they reproduce on that planet. Is they jellify, and then that's
That's canon.
it spreads. And you get more worms. That's how you get worms. I thought this game was hard. Why are you doing so good?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, it is easier on your own.
So tell me real quick, the checkpoints, do you need to jump into the sign portion of the checkpoint to activate the checkpoint?
I mean, it's a pretty big hitbox, but you do have to choose to activate it.
yeah. So people could conceivably accidentally keep running and then have to go back to the beginning when they die.
They could not hit the checkpoint. I mean, I haven't seen, that's pretty uncommon that somebody's going to like miss the jump, but I mean, it happens. Yeah, we can see what happens when you get a star. Nice. So, I think let's show a couple other things with the
Okay.
last 10 minutes of our time, I think.
Okay.
Why don't you put up quit the game, and then put on that video, that MOV.
The Daughter Runner.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the very, very first build of Joggernauts ever.
This is the one I played.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's mechanically very similar. You know, you have but it's
one-hit
one-hit kill. So you have a team of runners. You have to match colors. Obviously, these walls turned into worms. But it's like the Kenny 2D like prototyping set. I'm not the artist, so I just grabbed a tile set and just whipped the mechanics together. And people loved this, even when it was like one-hit kill. When showing it at playtesting events, like you'd get a crowd of people screaming and stuff, and then like I said, like a month later, they'd be like, "So did you work on Joggernauts at all?" And I'd be like, "What the hell?" Like, the reaction was cool. And that's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to when games are like a part-time thing. There's so many opportunities to be like, I'm gonna work on a different one. And if I hadn't partnered with Tommy and Rob, like there's no way I would have ever finished this solo. I would have like been like off on some other demo, almost certainly.
Yeah. I mean, the whole reason we even started it is because of the reaction you
Yeah.
know we were getting. So
Yeah.
we just felt like it was worth finishing,
Mhm.
and we wanted to do it right. So that's
Yeah.
when we got a publisher. Well, we
Yeah.
tried, and then we tried more, and then we got one.
Yeah.
You guys want to take any questions or anything?
Yeah, let's let's do questions, and can we just have 2 minutes
Yes.
after questions for something special?
Yes.
Because that's the only thing left in my notes here is something special that will take 2 minutes or less.
It's really dumb.
We can also
Really,
just do the
really.
special thing.
No, we gotta wait.
Questions.
We gotta wait. Okay, anybody got any questions?
Yeah.
The
so-
question for the stream was, how do you tweak the difficulty depending on the number of players?
Sure. So every level has every puzzle concept in fours. So like any new concept that you would have to learn is repeated for red, blue, green, and purple. And then the level automatically reskins itself depending on whatever number of players and whatever colors join. And in a two-player game, everything's just doubled. And so it'll be red, blue, red, blue, red, blue instead of red, blue, green, purple, red, blue, green, purple. And obviously the order is different for every puzzle and stuff like that. But in a three-player game, it's actually a little asymmetric, and one of the players has extra to do. So like, there's two greens, but there's only one red and blue, and so you can kind of put your strong player on that more responsible role in a three-player match if you want, which is kind of interesting. But I just made sure that no matter how many people played, everybody would get the opportunity to have to do a particular challenge. And because nobody can do your job for you in Joggernauts, it's like you're either going to fail that puzzle or you're going to learn how to do it right. And that's just kind of like an important, it's definitely learned by failing. Yeah.
People don't like to fail.
Some people do. I'd love to keep failing, and apparently in my games. I'm just bad at video games, so my tolerance for being bad at video games is high, maybe.
We have another question here.
So I noticed a few times you were doing interesting mechanics with the swapping, like swapping back and forth randomly to kind of hover, or quickly
Yeah.
to kind of hover, and like comboing jumps.
Yeah.
Were those intentional, or did
No,
they just
those
kind
are
of come out in testing?
completely emergent. So the only mechanics in the game are jump and switch positions. But because the switching works like the game Portal or something, where it's teleportation with some transfer of momentum, you can essentially have somebody jump, and then when they're at the peak of their jump, if you jump while you're still on the ground and then immediately switch, like your upward momentum is coming from their height, and you can keep chaining those. And because there's a very slight transfer of momentum, it kind of reduces your fall rate. If you're both falling, you're switching really fast. You're kind of losing a little bit of your downward gravity, and so you can do this little. We call it the shitty P-wing. Do you remember in like Mario 3, you get the P-wing and you can fly through the whole? Yeah, ours is the shitty P-wing.
Yeah.
You can't,
I just told him to turn the mature off of our Twitch stream. Thanks a lot.
The SE,
the
shooty,
shooty
P-wing.
This is on time delay, and you can bleep it, right?
Use that. There's your.
Oh, I'm going to be cussing a whole bunch later. It's
Okay.
fine.
There's the question.
Oh, we have another question. You can go ahead and ask.
Okay, so what do you think the market is like right now for couch co-op games, and has the Switch changed that at all?
I think there's a market for couch co-op games. I don't know if there's a market for this game. I mean, so the game came out Nintendo Switch and Steam. It came out like 3 weeks ago, 2
Yeah,
weeks
the
ago.
11th. Came
Yeah.
out on the 11th.
Yeah, it's a tough time to release a game. It wasn't, there were some external factors where the game came out when it did,
Yeah.
that were out of a lot of people's control.
It was supposed to come out in September.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out
Early
September.
September.
I don't know. I mean, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit by how childish it looks, but how difficult it is. And there are a lot of people who love that, or we wouldn't have kept making the game. Like the constant positive response and the milestones of like getting a publisher, getting onto a platform, or getting invited to an event. Like there's just been a lot of people who clearly this resonates with. But the game has always had a problem with a screenshot or even a video. Like the video is slightly more interesting than the screenshot because it shows what's happening, but you don't necessarily understand who's doing it or how. And so there's this pickle of, oh, so this is like it's Joggernauts Junior. It's like, if I've got a 5-year-old I need to play a game with, like I guess maybe I'd give this a shot. And it's not that game. And so we made it really approachable because it is a game, because it's 2 buttons, because it's a platformer. Like anybody can start playing. Like I played with people who literally do not play video games, and sometimes those are the people who love it the most. But I don't know, like it doesn't scream its place in the market through the visuals, and so we're still trying to sort out what to do about that, I guess.
Let's see the special thing.
Yeah, the special thing. So, Space Maze is obviously up to all sorts of fun things, and we got this opportunity to be on a big screen and a great speaker system. So this Space Maze made this for you. More volume. More. There'll be more. There'll be more. Stay tuned. There will be more.
God, that's dumb. I'm so sorry if that offended anybody. It offends me a little bit because it's so dumb, and really, it's just dumb. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our very first panelists, the creators of Joggernauts.